All right, welcome back, everyone. It is a tragic story repeated over and over again since the political upheaval began in North Africa. People fleeing the violence in their home countries, trying to get to Europe, but never making it. Just this Thursday, at least 200 refugees are feared drowned after their boat ran into trouble in the Mediterranean. There are similar tragedies almost every day. In our first report, we focus on one such incident when a boat carrying 63 migrants set off from Libya. The engine broke down and most of the people on board died of hunger or heat exhaustion. Only 9 were still alive when their vessel drifted back to the North African coast. This is their story.
When the tiny Italian island of Lampedusa comes into view, refugees know they've almost reached safety. But many never make it this far. Like the 72 on a nameless fishing boat that left Libya on March 25th. The Mediterranean claimed 63 of those people because no one came to their aid. We found some of the 9 survivors at a UN refugee camp in Tunisia. Asafo, Miriam and Elias were adrift for 2 weeks before wind and currents deposited them back on the North African coast. They're Ethiopians who worked in Libya. When the fighting there broke out, they tried their luck on the boat bound for Lampedusa. But they were ill-prepared.
We started to hungry. We started to change our pace by the sun and the cold, too much of cold, because the month is 3 and 25. This month, the condition is not like 4 months and 5 months, you know.
Using a satellite phone, the migrants managed to reach Moses Zerai, a Roman Catholic priest in Rome. Father Zerai also comes from Ethiopia and has devoted himself to helping compatriots in distress. He contacted NATO headquarters in Naples, where the alliance's operations in Libya are coordinated.
I hoped that with its many ships in the Mediterranean, NATO would take up the matter. Or send a helicopter.
The people on the boat hoped they would be rescued. They were still far from Lampedusa and their fuel was almost gone. And then elation, they were spotted.
When we saw a helicopter, it came to us for help. It said, wait here, we can help you by, like that. They show like their hand like that. From the helicopter. The helicopter is close to us, too much. I think from us far 10 meters.
We showed them the babies on board and the empty water containers. But they only photographed us and then flew away.
We saw after that, another ship, but it ran away from us. When we go to it, we haven't anymore. Our motor is stopped. We haven't all. We can go, when we want to go to them, we can't reach them because the oil is finished.
NATO was notified. It monitors the region from the air, yet it claims not to have spotted the boat.
NATO Maritime Command in Naples has looked into all the information available concerning this incident and the other incidents concerning migrants in the area. They concluded that no NATO vessel was involved in any way in this incident.
If that's true, whose helicopter and ship did the migrants on the drifting boat see? This is another boat crowded with migrants. An Italian customs patrol boat came to the vessel's assistance. The Guardia di Finanza operates off Lampedusa in cooperation with Frontex, the EU border patrol authority. Elias and his companions were not as lucky as these people. Perhaps they just didn't get close enough to the Italian island. That's because the Guardia doesn't feel responsible for vessels further off the coast, even when they know they're in distress.
If they had been in our zone of operations, we would probably have rescued them. Outside that zone, we can't help them. Zones have been set up and we operate within ours.
For days, the boat with 72 people on board drifted helplessly.
After 7 days, people they started to die. One of Ethiopia, he jumped into the water after 7 days. He said, there's no any solution with us. Why every day we are in difficult life? He said like that. He threw himself to water. Both of them from Ethiopia. One from Ethiopia. He wanted to help him. He can't to swim. He said, "I can swim and I can help him," and jumped to him. They died altogether.
Miriam and her companions watched them die, one after another, including the infants. Their bodies were thrown overboard.
I drank seawater. I was expecting to die.
This is how Miriam looked when she finally reached shore. Another survivor took a picture of her. Since then, she's been asking why didn't anybody help them, even after they were seen. On Lampedusa, a delegation from the Council of Europe is investigating the matter. The objects of the probe are the EU Border Patrol, the Italian and Maltese Coast Guards, the French Navy, but especially NATO, which knows best of all what goes on along the Libyan coast.
People just watch them die. I think that's outrageous, and it must be cleared up, and the guilty must be punished.
NATO only intervened for humanitarian reasons. So it would be odd if, having intervened for humanitarian reasons to save the people of Benghazi, it is now ignoring the humanitarian needs of people who are adrift at sea.
Asafo, Miriam and Elias don't want to stay in this camp in the Tunisian desert. They had work in Libya until the civil war. Now they see Europe as the only place where they can live in dignity.
I will get into another boat. Either I'll die or make it to Europe.
We will risk another journey, and it could be that we will die at sea. But that's the solution.
That's because so far, no country has said it's willing to take in the survivors.
Well, there are others who make it across to Europe safely, hoping for a better life, but they are sometimes disappointed. We met two young Tunisians who are now struggling to find work in France.
The French refugee aid organisation Terre d'Asile works with hundreds of Tunisians seeking residence permits in France. Mohammed and Mahram do not want to be identified. After landing on Lampedusa, they made their way to France to find work, with little success.
I brought all my documents. I've been here for 3 months now, and I've only gotten 2 days of work. But you can't live here without money. If things don't get better soon, I'll have to go back home.
Political reforms have started to show results in Tunisia. That's something Mohammed and Mahram had not expected. They fled because they expected things to get worse.
When we arrived in Italy, we were accused of running away from the revolution, of betraying the revolution. But we had planned to leave long before that, and were worried that the security situation would only get worse.
For the time being, they're getting free lodging at this hotel, but they still don't know when or whether they'll get permits to stay and work in France.
All right, fleeing to Europe, a desperate journey. That has been the focus of our in-depth report. I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. As always, thanks for the company, everyone.